Hey, well, good morning, everyone. Okay, great. Audio is working great. It was messing up a little bit, but yeah, it is a dark and dreary day here, June 5th, 2024. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BlueGamer Bluecast Morning Show, the daily video game morning show where I, a professional video game enthusiast of 30 plus years, Adam Blue, will cover video game. Oh, I had this blocked. What? We'll cover news and industry insights along with what I've been getting into. Yeah, so, to start, hopefully everyone's having a good morning so far. I know I am. Doing this first thing in the morning is pretty exciting. I can't believe I've been able to keep this up consistently. Doing streams are much easier than pre-recorded videos. So for my other channel, I had a really busy weekend, so it was really hard for me to get 2 videos put together. And I figured out, being creative ways to do that. But I kind of hate it when it's like rushing content. So that's why I like when I'm doing the video game news, because I don't feel like I'm rushing myself at all. I'm just like going online so we can all talk, right? But yeah, let's get started with what I was playing yesterday. So some interesting things. I'll start with Aria of Sorrow. For now, I've decided I am not going to bother with the saves syncing because I'm afraid it's going to mess things up. So for now, I'm just going to go with, like, if I'm primarily playing Aria of Sorrow on my ROG Ally, so I'm going to stick with that. And then until I figure out another save sync situation, I'm just going to do it device-based, I guess. Okay, so a couple other things yesterday that I played. So there's that game I bet a lot of you have heard about. Let me see if I can pull it up, which, yeah, Hypercharge Unboxed. Actually, let me share my screen just to show. Oh, there's my screen, by the way, which I didn't check before I started. Give me a second. Is that it? No. Oh, got it. Oh, okay. That's kind of it. That's kind of it. Let me move that over. So yeah, this Hypercharge. It's that shooter game that you guys might need to help me out. I want to say I already played the demo of this like maybe a year ago or so and totally forgot. Because I'm playing it again and I'm like, oh, I've played this and I didn't like it. Is this the same thing? It seems really cool. Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like this thing looks... It is... I gotta say, it's not that it's not cool. It's just kind of... It looks amazing, but when you play it, it doesn't feel like it looks, unless that's just me. And from what I understand, it's a very limited team, if not just one person making this. So it's really, I don't want to disparage anything. Like, this game looks great. It even plays great. But I would just say, as someone like me who is then going to get another game to be playing, this isn't it. It controlled fine. In fact, I got confused. I was using controller, and I actually didn't mind what they did. They made it where left bumper was run and right bumper was jump. But then it required you to do claw for shooting and aiming. Neat idea. I'm not gonna. So for now, I'm not gonna say avoid it yet. I'm gonna say let's kind of wait it out and see if like the community kind of figures out a way to find something about it that would get me hyped to get back into it and to play it. It's a free demo. Go ahead and check it out. It seems pretty cool. Another game that I played that I didn't think I was going to play, but it made it easy, is that Star Wars Hunters. That's a game that I think they announced years ago. It was just going to be at first just a mobile like Star Wars shooter, and then you look at it's like it's like Overwatch, and yeah, it's just another one of those really. And it just got released on Switch and mobile, and I really didn't feel like busting out my Switch to download it. I don't know why. I really just was like, well, it's on my phone, and I have this to use, so I decided to try it that way on my phone with the controller. And you know what? It's actually pretty fun. It was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And I think what helps is how quick a match can be. If I'm not mistaken, unless I'm just having fun, sometimes a match might be a minute 30 or 2 minutes. I mean, it has a timer at the top for 5 minutes, and then I'll always tell myself I need to check, but then I forget because I'm actually having so much fun because it's really quick and snappy. They did a good job with this. It's interesting how much it feels like a hero shooter without the slog, without that slowdown of, okay, this match has specific objectives and it's going to take time for this side to do this. And no, this is like quick. You get into some battles, you fight, you have fun, you get out, and then there's a bunch of stuff to unlock. And I was like, that's pretty neat. The thing is, and again, I think the art and everything looks good. I think the graphics look great. But in terms of being the Star Wars universe, it looks more like some AI generated content about Star Wars. It's so goofy and over the top. Nothing is grounded in anything in any of the movies. And maybe that's fine. But that's a layer of the game that then I would less likely then be playing it. I would think would be interesting if they made it where you're choosing, Rebels or Empire or Resistance or First Order, and like the characters are kind of within that, and to kind of make it feel like it's part of the universe. When it's like Overwatch, it looks like it's part of a game that's within the universe, even though the things happening in it don't make sense. And I guess that doesn't really matter, right? Because it's really about the gameplay. But I've talked recently how immersion of the IP and the characters, the story really helped me. Not that it needs to have a deep story, but the immersive aspect of it, making it believable that I am entering a world. Like when I'm playing, Overwatch or Hunters, it's like I'm just playing this game in this game. Like that stuff bothers me. Like there's War Robots or something. It's another mobile game I wanted to try. It was the same thing where you start it and then it's like you're in a game that's in the game. And so it removes you from the taking seriously the IP or the story or what you are. Because if I'm in a War Robot, but I'm doing it in a game that's in the game, there's less of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But it is interesting. Here's a example. If I was going to be playing a game that's in a game, that would be like sports or something, I don't know. Just with Star Wars, it's kind of weird. Again, the gameplay is actually pretty fun. I could see myself just picking it up and playing it, I guess, if I had nothing else to do and have my controller around. And they make it where early on, you're with bots or people at low level, so it's like easy for me. And it would be for someone that is a veteran of that genre, so you might then find that fun at first. I might play it some more. I'm very fascinated by it because they nailed the gameplay because of the matches being so short, but the rest of it's just kind of strange. And what's funny is how much this is a hero shooter type thing, yet it's doing enough on its own for the gameplay to be very different. And a lot of it has to do with the short matches. Also, you have there's grapple points around the map that you can just jump up and grapple, so it helps you travel around. So that's like another traversal thing that this game has that's pretty neat. Because then, I was thinking about X-Defiant, how it's very strange right now what's happening where and this happens with Souls-like, where people are like, oh, this is a hero shooter versus not being a hero shooter. If you look at like Call of Duty right now, would you call that a hero shooter? You probably wouldn't, but they play it. Call of Duty now plays exactly like any of those other hero shooters. Call of Duty is full of characters to select to use, and when you do that, when you're doing your loadout, you also select what special powers you want that then activate while you're in a match over time. Like, it's the same thing. I think there was just this weird issue where publishers and developers were like, okay, here's the shooter genre. You know, Overwatch does things a little differently. This game does a little differently. But then developers, publishers were like, well, let's just clone this one. And I think that's the wrong approach. I think it's better to take different aspects of different things, marry it with what that IP is. Gundam Evolution is a good example of where Bandai failed on that. With Gundam Evolution, they pretty much just made an Overwatch clone. They could have just said, okay, we're going to make a competitive first-person shooter in the Gundam universe. And sure, maybe there are some elements like hero cooldowns and all that, but the rest of it, like the way the levels were set up in Gundam Evolution, you know, they do it just like Overwatch where you travel. It tells you like where to go. It's the same every time, and matches can last a while. And there could be some, you know, and it. Whereas, yeah, the Star Wars Hunters does a good job of like taking, okay, this is what Overwatch did, but would be more enjoyable as if it's a lot more fast-paced, which I completely agree with. So it's interesting how the Star Wars Hunters devs were able to kind of find that sweet spot to make that a little more relevant. So that's what I want to find out about this Marvel Rivals, because that's the other hero shooter that is still taking more from the Overwatch than just being an FPS. And, you know, to counter that, or to explain that more, I guess, like X-Defiant is more like Call of Duty in the hero shooter sense, yet people will look at X-Defiant and be like, well, that's a hero shooter. And it's like, well, what X-Defiant is doing is exactly what is being done in Call of Duty right now. So I think it's best if publishers and developers are looking at it as shooters in general can be popular if they're done in a unique way. And it reminds me of, is it called The Rivals? So that was a first-person shooter that came out that was supposed to be huge. I don't hear much about it anymore. And that was one where it looks like it's a game, but you're like in a game in the game. I don't know. These things are very interesting. Okay, being a team deathmatch game certainly speeds it up. Marvel Rivals is objective based, so it'll be slower by nature. But yeah, but I still think with objective based games they could be a lot quicker, because Gundam Evolution matches sometimes would slog for a while, and it would just be where teams would just constantly meet at the same part and just trash each other, and there wasn't much like strategy, and it would just prolong. And whereas with Hunters, yeah, while I primarily just played the deathmatch, it's just a lot quicker. And I wonder how the other ones would play, because this is mobile. So I'd be curious to see how. I would think they'd want to keep that match time down, because it works for me. It works for me. What are some other? Yeah, the Marvel Rivals one. I just really curious to see where that goes. Just because, yeah, just looking at Gundam Evolution, X-Defiant, all that. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, another game I played. No, that was actually it. It was Unboxed. What is it called? Hypercharge Unboxed. Star Wars Hunters. I say they're both shooters worth. And you know what is funny? Actually, playing Hypercharge Unboxed. That also, is a shooter. It has abilities, all that stuff. So yeah, very interesting with that. Let's jump into the news. But first, just in case the news doesn't happen to... Here's Zachary Quinto. No, I'm joking. No, Xbox Handheld reportedly getting revealed during Xbox Game Showcase. Now, that is... Okay, this comes from a leaker, X-Styles, who claims that a portable Xbox console will be revealed through a teaser during the showcase. For those unaware of X-Styles, whatever. The leaker had previously given us first look at all digital, all white Xbox Series X, which remains to be officially announced by Xbox. So, put toilet paper under seat. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so this has to happen. For sure, Microsoft is going to have a handheld. I have heard things for a while too. And I've reported on it here. Not reported as in I have exclusive, but from what I've read or put things together, especially when it comes to what hardware, not manufacturers, but the guys that make the chipset manufacturers are doing, working with these different companies. We have where we could see how big the handheld market is now. It's absolutely insane, not only for modern, but for retro. There's new ones being announced every day. The Switch 2 is coming out soon, and we've had where modern game engines are being tested to work on it. So low-powered, lower-spec hardware, I think, is a must for all of these platform holders. We've heard the rumblings of Sony having a handheld coming soon, like a Vita 2, and we've heard even more with Xbox, with Microsoft. So I can't wait. And what does it mean for me? Well, the only reason I would buy this handheld is if it offered something another handheld doesn't. That would mainly be it. One of the big things to me is removable controllers, which I don't think a lot of people understand how big of a deal that is, but I think it's a big deal. A couple reasons. One, if you need to modify or repair a controller. Two, if you wanted to have a different style controller that you can attach to it. A pro grip versus maybe a light grip. But then this other thing, the other aspect could be that these portable devices that they're going to be announcing are are screens. Screens with either magnetism or USB-C or something to attach controllers. I think they've even talked, there was one recently that talked about using magnets. So for me, I'm thinking they're just going to be these displays, and it's going to be like, oh, this is an OLED VRR, and then the hardware being like, okay, well, you get double frames, little things like that to make it where, okay, I would get the display, the portable display of the Xbox or of the PlayStation or whatever. And these would also have, I would think, need to have some casting so that you can cast from it to another display device. That's what's going to be announced. Like, that's what's going to be part of this to make it enticing for people to want to. And when I say to want to, I think people already are down for handhelds, but it's Microsoft needs to make an Xbox handheld make sense. And I think they would already in a way, because they're trying to marry the Windows landscape of PC gaming with console gaming with their Xbox brand. So you would think that a handheld would try to leverage that. And with the rumblings of Steam being on Xbox, who knows if that's also a part of it. Because right now, if you wanted to make a Steam Deck, sure, Valve has that operating system available to use, but it's not actually the full suite. It's not the full kind of experience. It's almost like a layer that you can use to develop with. So that's why we don't see a lot of like Steam Decks out there. So I wonder if Microsoft licenses some Proton tech. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And I think it has to happen, and I'm excited for it to happen. All right, let's look at some news. The Last of Us Part 2 remastered on PC has been ready for at least 7 months, it's claimed. I bet. I don't really care too much. Mobile accounted for $90 billion of global games revenue in 2023. Mobile is huge. That's why, when we're talking about this video game stuff, excuse me, with Xbox, we don't really talk about, oh, Candy Crush, King, all this stuff Microsoft has now on mobile, because those aren't gamers' games. Those are just pastimes. Those are just activities people can do on a mobile device. And I think it's kind of criminal in a way where this, the way we talk about our hobby, it merges maybe two things that are not super, super related, and that is the mobile game pastime versus console/PC gaming, which I want to have a better term for that. Like, maybe, the term is mobile gaming. But for someone that's used to mobile gaming, do you say sit-down gaming? I don't know. There's got to be a word for that. Because really, if video game companies that are failing are wanting to make sure that they are safe and that they can keep moving forward, they have to make their games that they're making based on the logical sort of revenue or profit they would get from being non-mobile. A lot of these publishers are looking at that mobile. space. And Microsoft did it smart by having a mobile division. Sony is now doing that by having a more of a mobile side to things. They are differentiating. Okay, so we are seeing a differentiation within the games industry now. Just I guess not how media reports on it. But it's interesting because like with Ubisoft having mobile games, like there's that blur too, because some games that could be on a phone might be a game that could be on a console, and they're just porting it. And so that's another delineation that needs to be clear. And even here saying games like Candy Crush Saga, Honor of Kings, Roblox. Yeah, and Roblox is a huge game on PC, so it's huge on mobile also, but probably for different reasons. Bungie apologizes for Destiny 2 connection issues following the final shape release. It's very interesting because it was the same thing with Helldivers 2. So it's like Sony, I think, and I think that's why they hired Bungie anyways, to help them with the service games, online stuff. Interesting. I haven't played this. I don't think I will. I remember when Destiny first came out, and it seemed really cool. I played a lot, but over time I'm like, it's really not that cool to me. It just has really good gunplay. Remedy looks set to reveal Alan Wake 2's Night Springs DLC. I didn't play the first, would like to. I've heard people say it was a little overhyped because it did a lot of things that a AAA game wouldn't have done if it wasn't for the backing of Epic, so kudos to Epic for that, but it also did some interesting things in it. But X Defiant will receive a Capture the Flag mode soon. Okay, that's cool. I mean, it makes sense. It is a very Call of Duty-like game. Ubisoft vet David Pulfelt opens new studio in Barcelona. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, that's right. Massive Entertainment for 17 years. Wow. So he was probably pivotal, and I'm just assuming this, in a lot of the direction like the Division went, like the gunplay with all that. Very amazing. So from 2008, so this was like after, if it's the same developer like World of Conflict and all that. That's very interesting. Okay, Jingle Jam 2024 charity gaming event announces its 8 charity partners. Nice charity. The Not E3 hype season begins. Yeah, that is right. No E3. So, yeah, that's like I'm hyped about these announcements coming up here pretty soon, but it's not, yeah, there's not the E3 hype. That's the thing, man. I missed that time. I remember I'd be like, oh, I can't wait. Every day I'd be like, oh, in a few days E3. That's not really going to happen. I mean, we're going to get, some game shows or whatever, but even Jeff Keighley said there's not some major announcements. So maybe just not through him, and maybe just, through Xbox, through the platform holders. Capcom has something coming up soon. So, let's see. What was this Hogwarts Legacy update? Dead by Daylight dev makes more layoffs. Well... And they're doing fine, and they're making more games. So I wonder what it could just be like. Unprecedented competition. Interesting. What does that have to do with them laying off people? It has to do with competition. I don't know, but it could just be whatever developers and publishers going through right now, where they probably had hired a little too much back when it looked like the industry was going in a certain direction. And it's so funny because over this past weekend when I was, traveling, there was a lot of driving, and I was listening to podcasts, and there were a few that were just about the movie theater industry or film industry in general. And it was mirroring a lot of what's going on with movies. So just kind of reiterate again, a lot of these things we're seeing that's happening in gaming, and I see game media get mad at publishers and developers. This is kind of a worldwide thing that's going on, an industry-wide thing. So, yeah, because like the past 3, I guess, summer movies that just came out, I think it was like Garfield, Fall Guy, and there was another one, but they're just not. The Mad Max are just not doing good. lower than expected, and that's pretty interesting. And we don't really know what it is, because it could be that people would go to the movie, but it has to be like, this is the movie. And what is that movie? I think it's whatever the most popular IP is, or they can make it an event. Hitman 3 VR Reloaded revealed as Meta Quest 3 exclusive. Interesting. I do want to get myself a Meta Quest 3. I keep thinking about it. I'm just waiting for that Gundam game or experience to get its official date. Let's see. Not really into the sales comparisons as much. Wild Bastards. I just want to say that. Well, yeah, I don't know if there's really much more going on. I think I talked about this before. It's kind of slow leading up. And actually, let me look that up. Summer Games Fest. I'm kind of curious on the specific dates, if I can ingrain it into my mind. Okay, events. So yeah, let's maybe show that off again. Okay. June 7th. 5, 6, 7. Okay, so Friday at 4 Central, if I'm seeing that correctly, I could potentially watch this, stream it. I don't know. I would just hate if it's a lot of like, I've heard it's 2 hours, and it's like 2 hours of what? Okay, so then we have, let's see, Summer Game Day of the Devs, which is cool, but I wouldn't stream something like that. Whatever this is. Yeah, there was that one, I think it's mainly like this Xbox, but I don't really care to stream about Call of Duty. So yeah, Sunday, maybe if there's some time, I'll do that. And then Ubisoft Forward, I'm looking forward to that, because I do think Ubisoft is trying, like, compared to most publishers. They're actually, even if they release something that doesn't make sense, they were like trying to do something. So yeah, I'll probably for sure check out the Xbox, Ubisoft Forward. It's very interesting how Sony did their State of Play separate from being part of the Summer Games Fest. That might have been smart of Xbox to be included as part of this. Interesting. So yeah, day one it's that thing Jeff Q was talking about. It's like 2 hours of just not reveals, unfortunately, but it's going to be showing games that have already been revealed. And that's the thing, it's like 2 hours of that. That's why I don't see myself streaming that. Even if I was to watch it on my own, which I would, it would be background while I'm doing other things, just because 2 hours of so yeah. And then okay, so there's new independent games and reveals, but these must be, according to Keeley, not huge things. Although that is kind of weird that he would say that there's no reveals, yet there's going to be some independent games and reveals that are. So what is he trying to say? Unless he's just trying to say it's nothing that's a big deal that's going to be announced. It's very interesting. Yeah, it was weird how Jeff Keighley downplayed this Summer Games Fest. But I guess it's good to set that expectation, so when it's done, it's like, But I've heard, oh yeah, it's true, that is a different segment. So yeah, hopefully then the Day of the Devs does have, so that's cool. There could be some reveals then, new stuff, because then I'm thinking, I've even heard, on the inside of some neat announcements that people would like. Well, in terms of like specific people, not that everybody, but like someone being like, oh wow, that's something that I would like. So hopefully there are some cool stuff. Well, cool. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's about the end of the show. Really looking forward to the rest of the week. What will I be playing more today when I get off work? I'm not too sure yet. Whatever I'm in the mood for. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Has anyone else played Star Wars Hunters curious, leave in the comments what you guys think of it. I don't know if this game's gonna last or not, but I liked how quick and fast-paced it was. So, and this had to do with, like, going to menus, starting a game, like the whole process of playing a game, like you get into it in that game. So anyway, thanks for watching. We will talk tomorrow. See you later.